Reserve time.
Well, guys, we did it. We built the best studio ever.
It's a nice wall.
Where you can see we're really well centered in the camera shot. You need to come over here, buddy.
Scooch in. We don't. We have carpet. Chairs don't slide on carpet.
Yeah, this is temporary, guys. But we have built ourselves a temporary secondary studio while we're working on the main one.
Up late last night.
You made it to California, I guess, a few weeks ago. So
Yeah.
that's exciting stuff.
A week and a half. My first cast live from Beyond the Summit. This is only our second cast together, LD, ever.
Yeah, let's not fuck it up.
I know it's gonna be an adventure.
Yes.
We've got fun games today, though.
Yeah, coming up first, guys, we have RoX.KiS versus Arizona SADBOYS. I thought they were just sad boys, but I guess
They're adding some flair.
yeah, they're taking it to the next level. That's a best of one. Then the winner moves on to play the winner of the next match, which is
Speed versus E-Hug.
Speed versus E-Hug. So I believe it's E-Hug's. I think you said it was their second ever
Yes.
official match.
Yeah, they played against only top 5. I have to look at my cheat sheet here. They played only against top 5, and they won in that quick best-of-3 series. And SADBOYS, similarly, they've only played one series against Liquid. So they need
And
to redeem themselves.
that one was worthy of our Reddit thread. So
Yeah.
according to Reddit, SADBOYS should have disbanded, but
Yeah.
apparently they didn't get the message, and they're still playing Dota.
It was
What's wrong with these
a
guys?
rough series. But what's
Reddit
interesting,
has spoken.
what's interesting today is we
Yeah.
have 2 best-of-1s, and then we move into a best-of-3, and then we have another best-of-1 for the losers. So we have an interesting format to get this tournament kicked off.
So it's an 8-team double elimination format, and basically we do like the top half of the winners bracket today. So we do the first round matches as well as the winners round 2 match for that top half. Then we do the losers round 1 for that match.
Right.
So by the end of today, somebody's going home, and somebody is into the top 2 of the winners bracket. So top 3 overall.
Yeah, so it's an interesting format. And
It's a $10,000 tournament, guys. Before we get started, the draft has just begun, so I'll hop into it in a second. But we should mention that there's a Dota TV ticket bundle. Apparently, it was placed under the hero section, but it comes with a courier. I believe it's a courier award set. Let me just double check so I don't miss
it also does come with a HUD as well.
Yeah, it comes with a ticket, HUD, and ward set. Not a courier, so don't yell at me. But sorry, I'm a little disheveled here, guys. I got like 3 hours of sleep. I do apologize. But it's under the Heroes tab in the Dota 2 store. Check that out if you want to support the tournament. I believe they don't have any sponsors, so they are relying quite a bit on the Dota TV ticket revenue as well as just out of pocket to make this thing happen.
Yeah. So and it's a quick tournament too. Only 6 days of
6
gameplay, all straight through. So we're going to be having this coverage straight through. Nice, exciting little tournament to get things kicked off here.
Yeah, I've been waking up at like 3 p.m. here, Pacific time, which is like midnight Europe, and well, it's 5 p.m. Europe time. So with that being said, let's hop into the draft. I think we can do it, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, LD. So we've got RoX.KiS versus the Arizona Iced Out Boys. Of course, SADBOYS as they're known in our hearts. RoX.KiS with that first pick Invoker, and SADBOYS making me happy here. First pick Dazzle. Not too often we see that.
Yeah, Dazzle did get buffed in the latest patch, correct?
He sure did. That
Talk
ultimate.
to me about it.
An extra 4 seconds on Weave. Of course, in 6.79 they changed it so it no longer scaled, but was a constant 20 seconds. And now it's a constant 24 seconds. So even a little bit additional incentive to get that initial point in Weave. A lot of Dazzles were saving it to that level 10, level 11 mark, and now, well, maybe we'll see some early minus armor strats.
I feel like it's really like Darkseer Wall, where it's deceptively strong early on, because generally the traditional thoughts on Darkseer are like, oh, you want to max Ion Shell, you want to probably get 2 points in Surge if you're off lane and you're not 1v1, and then you want to at least get 3 or 4 in Vacuum before you even take a point in Wall. But we do see a lot more people taking that value point in Wall early on as well, and perhaps we'll see the same for Dazzle. But how are they going to look to incorporate the Dazzle into their lineup, I guess, is the next question. They've gone for Weaver, so an elusive, fairly squishy carry, but now they've got a good way to keep him alive. Do you think we might even see him solo mid here, I guess, is the one question.
That could be possible.
I feel like he's a little bit underrated as a solo.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true. What's caught my attention is the
10
Alchemist. That
seconds remaining.
Acid Spray minus armor synergizes well with Dazzle, and he went from first pick,
5
first ban
seconds
material, and
remaining.
now here in 6.8, it seems Alchemist has sort of fallen off the table as a prominent pick. I don't know if SADBOYS are going to be interested in trying to run like an Alchemist mid, given they have their 2 supports, but
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot less of him in my pub games.
Yeah,
that
same
doesn't, know, if a pro team runs him well, then all of a sudden I'll be right back. But first overall pick for RoX.KiS was Invoker. Now, this hero saw a lot of changes in 6.8. The main thing is his Exhort Invoker got weaker, but Wex Invoker got a bit stronger. Still, the problem with Wex Invoker is that his base damage is shit, which makes it pretty hard to lane 1v1 early on, but you make up for that perhaps in the mid-game tempo control. So I expect we're still going to see Exhort Invoker, but I think Wex is more viable, and maybe it's where you just get the 4 points in Quas Exhort, and then you just max Wex right away instead of taking more in Exhort.
So there's that Alchemist that we were talking about, and it looks like RoX.KiS could almost be gearing up for a little bit of a push strat, or at least some anti-push. They've got Venomancer for those nasty little Plague Wards, and even though the Forged Spirits from Invoker did take a beating from the nerf stick, they still do synergize a little bit with those pushing strats. They still do a fair bit of damage. I think they're leveled now, whereas before they were maybe just a little bit too tanky, a little bit too powerful. But some scary push potential here from RoX.KiS pending these last 2 picks coming out.
Man, every time a hero gets picked, I just go right to the change search for him, because I have definitely read the notes a few times. But this was one of those patches where every hero got like at least a small change. It felt, not everyone, but most of them. And Darkseer, it was minor. Ion Shell cooldown reduced from 10 to 9 seconds. But I think Darkseer is still kind of an underrated hero in some ways. It's more like just finding the right way to use him, but he's one of the fastest off-lane farmers, or solo farmers in general. We don't see players having to go to the jungle too much, but getting a fast mech can be really game-changing. So
is there any chance that the SADBOYS are looking for a Lion mid possibly here to pair with that Darkseer?
Lion mid?
Lion mid? Is that viable, LD? I want it to be, but I don't know if that's just wishful thinking.
They probably do need a solo mid here, unless they actually want to run Dazzle as a farmer. So Lion was not going to match up well against Invoker is the main problem. Forged Spirits will just shit on him in lane. He can't really rune control that well. I think Lion mid is situationally very strong, but I don't think Invoker is the right matchup, because he can just siege you with the Forged Spirits, push the lane, deny you the runes, and he can kill you pretty easily. If you ever run in to try and stun him, he just cold snaps you and you just die. So,
well,
I don't think not this game, I would say, but maybe some game, perhaps.
Maybe some game somewhere someone is doing Lion
It used to be a go-to thing, by the way.
I believe it.
Way back in the day, we saw Die, or MMY from DK now.
Yeah.
He used to be known for his legendary solo mid Lion. He would just. This was before Smoke of Deceit was introduced to Dota 2, so much harder to gank in general. So I think that's when Lion was most viable. But Smoke of Deceit doesn't last as long in this patch, so I think some of those, like, like you'd like to think some of those harder to gank heroes mid will be like a little bit better choices. But to be honest, I feel like the smoke duration is still long enough to get in there and go for a kill.
Yeah. So, obviously, our iced boys here are going to grab themselves an Earthshaker with that final pick, and I think it's safe to say they're going to allocate a fair bit of farm to this Dazzle, but I'm curious exactly how they're going to lane this. Is it going to be a tri-lane with the Crystal Maiden, Earthshaker, Weaver? I think we can assume the Darkseer will go in the off lane. Is this going to be a Dazzle mid? I mean, they don't really have a classic mid hero here.
I think it is. I think this is easy Dazzle, perhaps.
Oh, boy. Well, they're going to leave us hanging in the balance here, and we'll see in just a moment. Of course, the final pick from RoX.KiS is going to be that Elder Titan.
They got on the Dazzle, man. I have not seen it. I have not seen this on the stream. It is one of my favorites to turn on when I need a little sadness in my life. I've been feeling emotional lately, so we'll have to see. But it looks like it is an RTZ Dazzle mid, so you get your wish, buddy.
I've been waiting for this to happen for a really long time. I've been telling people in pubs and podcasts that Dazzle mid is not that bad. It might not be that great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And fingers crossed that RTZ will do us proud here. I'm not so sure how Dazzle's going to fare against Invoker, though. I feel like that's going to be a little bit of a rough matchup.
Yeah, it's hard for the Invoker to actually kill Dazzle if he's got a point in Grave, because you can always just shallow Grave and try and fog him and pop a salve or something like that. I'm very curious what build he goes for now, because it used to be with Dazzle, like getting the 3 points in Poison Touch was all you needed. Now, if you really want to get it, you might as well max it because it scales pretty well at all levels. Dazzle mid does get a lot of experience, though, and I think that's the big thing here. Is this is a very experience-dependent hero, whether he's support or solo mid. And he's also a fairly squishy hero, so getting those early levels, we'll see him be able to tank up a bit. And I do want to mention, just before we start this game, because some people might be curious, it is a best of one. We did a coin flip for server. It came up heads, which is what SADBOYS or Arizona Iced Out Boys had called, so they chose US East. In exchange, RoX.KiS got choice of side as well as choice of pick. So they chose Dire side as well as first pick, but it will be on USC, so maybe that gives our TZ the slight advantage. Although, to be honest, when you're US West playing USCs, your ping's not too great. But that's just my experience here in LA.
Yeah, and this RoX.KiS draft, we were spending a lot of time talking about Dazzle, but boy, do they have a lot of team fight synergy. Basically, everyone has some sort of an AoE ability. Good bit of minus armor. They've got Luna there with those bouncy glaives, and of course they've got Elder Titan for the setup with that Earth Splitter. This could be some pretty nasty team fight coming out of RoX.KiS in that mid game. Yeah,
it really could. And as for SADBOYS, they started off with what looked like a very kind of Goblak style draft almost. Like you get an elusive carry, like the Weaver, you pick somebody who can keep them alive. Instead of a Treant, they go for a Dazzle. But in some ways has that same sort of impact. But then they backed off for big team fight, Earthshaker and Darkseer. So we could see some wombo combos this game. You know, that was probably my favorite era of Dota, was when teams were running mass team fight lineups. There was a period, like if you go back like 5 or 6 years, Blink Dagger didn't used to actually cool down when you get damaged by enemy heroes, so you could always blink regardless.
Oh, wow.
So that was the era when everybody bought Blink Dagger. Like, when Anti-Mage buying Blink Dagger was not a joke. He wasn't actually picked back then, but that often. But yeah,
boy,
so legit.
Yeah, so legit. And also, I mean, SADBOYS have a lot of anti-push as well. Pushing into an Earthshaker as well as a Darkseer, that is, that's a nightmare coming true, I think.
Yeah, it's Weaver safe lane versus Elder Titan, which is going to come down mostly to the early few levels, I would say. Elder Titan boots first. He was expecting to be up against potentially 2 or 3 heroes. The boots are not really going to help him in a 1v1 against Weaver, so item build not really the best for this matchup, I would say, but should definitely still be able to get his levels. Main thing here is just don't get too cocky and overextend. That's where the Weaver can just pop inside the tree, salve up, and come back in for a first blood. And here we see a big dive top lane. No unstable concoction yet, though.
Yep, Universe in big trouble here. That concoction going to tick down. There is going to be the fissure coming out from PPD.
Good positioning for the Earthshaker.
And, yeah, that'll be the end of it. So, and I want to double check, guys. I think we should be getting in-game sounds. I'm not hearing any on my end. I'm unmuted over here.
Are you unmuted in Dota 2?
Is Steam part of the...
Maybe it's just the speakers as well.
It could be.
We're on our like super ghetto last minute studio setup here. Oh, hold that thought. Luna's on the run. She might go down. This could be our first blood. How did he end up there? Well, we were trying to fix the audio. Looks like it was just the speakers. But meanwhile, Yo might go down as well. A-God going ham. He's gonna pick up another. Oh, easy 2 kills for SADBOYS.
Yes, indeed.
You know, maybe you should check the volume more often, because that's some good luck charm right there for the American boys. Gotta say.
Yeah. So, all right, an easy 2-0 to get things started here in the first 2 minutes, and walking away with those last hits.
And they're going in mid now.
Shaker and Dazzle, and of course, as I get back, Scandal now going to get ganked, and now I'm finally back in it, guys, as we've got our audio tweaked. I apologize for the bit of fail camera work here, as our studio is still a work in progress, let's put it that way. So, regardless, though, SADBOYS off to one hell of a start here, already picking up a quick 3-0, and also Weaver not involved in any of these fights, but he is getting much better at the farm down here against Elder Titan, who's only 2-1 in this heads-up lane.
Yeah, Boots first build definitely not helping him a whole lot, and he also didn't start with a whole lot of regen either, so SADBOY pretty much just uses the Spirit to CS. He'll come in a little bit when he's got the bonus damage, but we definitely fear we'll win in the war of attrition. He got pulled early on, and of course he didn't start Boots first. He started with a Wraith Band, so that makes this a tough matchup, and it's not an easy matchup for Elder Titan anyway. The main way I've seen that you can lose it is if you get too cocky when your Sakuchi's on cooldown on top lane, where Universe is just going really hard here against this tri-lane.
Yeah, he has few fears right now. Yol going to charge up a concoction, but the follow-up won't be there. And now Yol actually going to be in big trouble. Universe going to have an easy dive. That's an Ion Shell kill right there.
This Universe Darkseer, man, it used to be legendary, then they stopped picking it, and I think we see why they should be picking it more.
Solo still not out of the clear. There's the surge forward. Universe gonna take a Lucent Beam to the face.
He's dead.
Still that Ion Shell on. Solo in big trouble. The question is, will Universe be able to survive this assault? Now he's gonna be stuck in this awkward position. Gonna cut his way through the trees. Surge forward. Thinking about maybe manning up on that Alchemist, but he will about face. He's gonna make it back. But this Darkseer off to a speedy start. Literally.
I see what you did there, buddy. As they're smoking up mid, they're gonna look to make a go here with PPD and Zai, but yeah, I think the early deaths for RoX.KiS top lane really hurt them. Luna was level 1 until just like a minute ago. And sure, now she's at level 3, but their supports have been sitting at level 1 or 2 for most of this time, and they're wrapping around top looking for more kills. But you really have to go back to just that early dive where PPD was in the right place at the right time. to stop the aggression.
And now Yol in some trouble, going to charge up that concoction, fissure block, and he is not going to survive this one. Zai going to walk away with the last hit, but SADBOYS 6-0 already in the first 4 minutes. This aggression is just uncanny.
This is why Earthshaker got some buffs in this latest patch as well. I don't think any of them affected his performance in this game so far. It was move speed and strength gain, but this is probably the single hardest support to dive against. I mean, there's others that you can make a case for, like Shadow Demon, but ES can stun everybody, so... Well, they go again top, and they'll get another kill, it looks like.
Luna's in big trouble. Nowhere to go. Another beautiful fissure coming out from PPD, and now Solo, only a level 2 Venomancer here. No way he's going to survive this one. The surge forward onto the Earthshaker, and Solo is going to go down, and actually PPD may pay for it. A nice Sunstrike comes out, it does connect, and Earthshaker is going to fall, so that'll be the first kill on the board coming out for RoX.KiS.
Boy, do they need it. They're oh, mid lane. Scandal's taking a lot of damage. No, he'll be okay.
Double damage rune on the Dazzle.
He got that early point and weave that that you were talking about.
And no Grave either. We were talking about how difficult it'll be for that Invoker to shut down the Dazzle. If he gets that point in Grave, and Arteezy going pure man mode here.
Yeah, he got fed an early kill from top lane, so on top of having a really good start in terms of CS, he's actually out-farming Invoker, which is pretty impressive to start off with. And then on top of that, he gets the free kill. So now the lane's looking hard, and I believe we might see the infamous Arteezy Midas rush. It could just be treads, but if you ever watch Arteezy, you know this guy loves his hand of Midas, hand of money. Doesn't matter what hero he's on, and they want to punish him. They want to shut him down. RoX.KiS are smoking up, and they're headed mid.
Yeah, they want to put some pressure on this Dazzle. And I'm kind of curious which boots Arteezy will go for. If it's going to be treads, if it will be the phase boots, of which I'm a fan, or if he's going to go for something a little more standard like the arcane boots. Still a little bit hard to tell, but Arteezy going to be in a little bit of trouble here. We'll use the defensive weave. Sunstrike going to come out. Will connect, and does get that point in Grave. Not going to be able to get it off, so that will slow down that Midas timing, if that is indeed what he's going for.
Yeah, I mean, he may decide otherwise, but considering that they have a really good start on their Weaver and their Darkseer, I think he can still go for it because Fear's going to be applying a lot of pressure very early on. At the rate he's going, probably can have a Linken's, like, I would say around, like, the 15-ish minute mark or so. If he gets a kill or two, could be sooner. And, of course, the Darkseer for Universe. Already has Arcane Boots as well as Headdress. Mech's not far off, and, I mean, these are two heroes that, if they don't have a good start, require a lot of farm and a lot of support. But with this kind of a start, Arteezy will have a bit more space if he wants to go greedy.
And Arteezy going to head up to the top lane. Poison Touch to start things off on the Venomancer. Solo still only level 3. This is going to be an easy kill. The poison will be enough to tick him down at this point. Dazzle going to grab the last hit, but Universe right up in his face with that Ion Shell. Oh, this Venomancer just can't catch a break. Darkseer, such a great pick into that Veno, of course, negating that pesky slow from the Venomous Gale. Oh, Darkseer. Happy to see him getting a little bit of love because it's kind of been a while since we've seen a lot of Darkseer picks in competitive.
He's one of these offlane heroes that can really snowball as well. Like, if you give him a First Blood, you give him, like, an early Arcane Boots or Soul Ring, you give him an early level 5 instead of where he'd normally be level 3 or 4. The damage in from Ion Shell is probably one of the single highest damage output laning stage spells in the game, and he's abusing it right now. Universe diving the tower. Doesn't even really take damage from Unstable Concoction either. This Alk stun is not doing what it used to, I gotta say.
Yeah, it definitely, you know, looking at the nerf, I thought it wasn't that bad. You know, he still has Acid Spray. He can still be a very scary force, but really not as much damage as it used to be. And I think we'll continue to see the fall of Alchemist as a prominent pick. This game, sort of a testament to that. Up top, though, looks like Universe and Zai maybe looking to pick up a kill. This Luna looking fresh.
She doesn't have Eclipse yet, though. If she was level 6, they would not be diving like this, but she's not, and they're getting aggressive. And mid lane, PPD's made a rotation here. They want to go on Scandal.
Yep, Arteezy going to press forward. There's the Fissure to start it off. Poison Touch to follow up. Arteezy going to get cold snapped here, but should have enough to finish him off. One Shadow Wave for a good bit of damage.
Well, they can go again on SADBOYS. SADBOYS in a lot of trouble here.
He's level 7. Does have the Earth Splitter, but I don't know it'll be enough to save him here. PPD going to go straight in. Arteezy just going to man up and tank the tower. There's the Shallow Grave.
And top lane, we're not done yet. Zai's been stunned up, and Yol's going on him, but it's going to be Universe getting the first kill here, it looks.
Yep, Solo trying. Yol, yep, going to be able to make it away perhaps. And that's going to be the end of the Venomancer, but Yol will be able to make it back to safety.
Dude, they're in so much trouble right now. Fear went back for a Midas after his Reign of Health. He's been free farming bottom. Elder Titan rotates off the lane to try and support mid, to try and bail the Invoker who's been having a bad time out a bit. And not only does Fear then get free farm, they also give up another kill mid. So, I mean, you could see what RoX.KiS is doing. The lanes didn't go well. They overextended top.
Oh, Luna. Oh, Luna, yeah. There's the vacuum.
Has no Eclipse. Still level 5 at 9 minutes. And the TP gets canceled.
Darkseer, he's going to man up here. Doesn't have that Ion Shell for another few seconds, but he has not a fear in the world. Going to surge forward. Nowhere for the Luna to go. Down she goes. Universe now going to be on an unstoppable streak. Zion, big trouble though. The Sunstrike will connect. Scandal at least going to find a recovery kill. Now Yol going to move his way up here, charging up that concoction. Poison Sting going to come in. Or Poison Touch, pardon me. There's the Grave onto Arteezy. Oh, and it couldn't have come at a better time. They're going to be able to pick up a couple of kills here, but it's going to cost them their PPD. Also going to cost them their Dazzle in the end. It's a massacre up here in the top lane, LD. Just Scandal and Universe left. They're going to go toe-to-toe. Two minds battling it out, and it's hard to say who's going to come out on top. The Forge Spirit going to make it in. Looks like Universe going to find the better of him. That's a triple kill, godlike streak in under 10 minutes on this Darkseer.
He's got mech and another 1,000 gold, and he went Arcane Boots first, and the Weaver's not joining the fight, so almost gets the tower. I think he's dead here.
Oh, no.
One bridge too far, I suppose.
Greedy. Little greedy.
And they get the tower tonight. So, and they end the godlike streak, which is 1,200 gold for a desperately poor Luna. 26 CS, mostly, though, very underleveled. That's a huge swing for RoX.KiS, but the problem is they've been fighting 4v5. Fear has not left this bottom lane. He went back for a greedier build. He went back for the Midas, and he's still on track. I'm not sure exactly, but it should be like 15 to 17 minutes on the Midas at most, and on the Lincolns. And on top of that, they went for a second Midas on the Dazzle. So, yeah, RoX.KiS, despite getting a nice kill there, they're going to continue to be outfarmed unless they can find ways to force fights. And with Luna hitting level 6, it's a good timing to do it. Now, SADBOYS should be a little bit more careful when they tower dive, but they now have mech as well. And a cloak on this Darkseer, who is ungodly tanky already.
Yeah, and even though Fear is 0, 0, and 0 in terms of kills, deaths, and assists, he's still #1 on that net worth chart and just complete free farm mode, sitting about 5.6k, leading the way, setting the gold standard here in this match. So, RoX.KiS, I mean, they just need to find some way to get some farm on this Luna, maybe stack some Ancients, which they are doing right now. They've got a nice double stack there. Maybe Luna can start finding some recovery farm.
Oh, no. If they get this kill, they'll get the tier 1 here as well.
Yep, Yol going to be in big trouble. Fear going to press forward. Concoction going to be charged up, but won't be nearly enough to keep him alive. Just going to tickle on that Crystal Maiden, who was also standing in Acid Spray. I mean, she did have the mech aura on, which helped, but such little damage coming out from Alchemist, who used to be such a feared hero.
Yeah, I don't think he's a weak hero now. I mean, I think he's just a little bit more balanced. It's really stupid how the stun would, like, exceed its duration, but as long as you release it in time, it still keeps on flying and doing max damage.
Yeah.
I still think he's very strong, but as a support, he definitely is a support that needs, like, an okay start. You should be able to get early kills, but when we were busy fixing our audio, they overextended top. They gave up 2 kills, and as well as PPD just being in the right place at the right time, he was ready to protect the Darkseer when they towered over him top. And if he wasn't, that probably would have been a first blood for RoX.KiS, so... although Alchemist isn't looking like a strong hero in this game, I still think he's a strong pick. He's maybe just not quite as, broken as he was in 6.79.
Right. No,
so I wouldn't count him out just yet, but he definitely looks a little more balanced, you could say.
Yeah. So it looks like Invoker is working towards a mech. He does have that buckler already, but still a little ways off. Now going to grab himself a headdress. So a little bit closer than I initially thought. Now Dazzle going to go ahead and grab himself some Drums of Endurance. And still sitting on the regular Boots of Speed. Very curious to see how Dazzle's going to transition this build. But RoX.KiS with the right idea here. They need to do something crazy to get back into it, and they're going to move into an early Roche attempt. The problem is, though,
I think SADBOYS can fight this, though. They have mech. Earthshaker is already level 7. This is going to be a pretty powerful fissure, and will they get here in time? That's the big question. No Weaver for this fight.
It's not looking like it. They need to go in now. Oh, just a second too late. Luna going to go ahead and pick up the Aegis. There's the Eclipse coming out. Zai going to be on the high ground doing a fair bit of damage. Universe taking a lot, but he will survive. Oh, that wall going to come down right in the middle of it. It's looking bad for RoX.KiS. Luna going to fall. She's going to pop right back up, and this is going to be an easy 6-0 exchange. SADBOYS.
They were late. They gave up the Aegis. Weaver didn't arrive until halfway through that fight, but it didn't matter. That was too much AoE. Early mech pickup from SADBOYS making a lot of difference, and they used everything to try and kill this Darkseer, who is cloak and mech, and he's level 11. That's like the perfect early game tank build. Maybe you could throw a Vit booster instead of the Arcane Boots for maximum durability, but he's incredibly hard to kill, and this just shows how high, like, over leveled and strong in the Roche fights this team is. With the Darkseer wall, Earthshaker got a decent Echo Slam, really good fissure off from PPD, and Crystal Maiden channeled like a full duration ult on the high ground from Zai, so SADBOYS just playing with confidence. I mean, most teams, they see the Aegis is down, like, we should probably back out. No, they just strut in, and they take what's theirs, and they're looking for more bottom lane.
Yep, and Solo, well, he will survive. Fear just going to go ahead and time-lapse back, and not going to overcommit to it, but we're getting close to that 1,000 gold experience lead per minute. And
that's scary.
Generally that insurmountable lead. Universe, though, maybe in a little bit of trouble here. SADBOY going to poke forward, and they're going to exchange blows, and both of them just going to head back to friendly territory. But, yeah, looking very grim early on here for RoX.KiS. It was the right idea, I think, to try and grab that Roche, but unfortunately SADBOYS were just very equipped to deal with that.
They definitely had to do something like that. I don't know if that was the perfect time. I mean, to be honest, SADBOYS felt a little bit late to react. Considering that they did get D-ward. RoX.KiS were setting up with wards in the pit, and well, we're going to see an engagement top lane. Zai, a bit of trouble.
He is going to get mech'd up. That Surge going to have to keep him alive. Sunstrike going to be off the mark.
As well as this Luna on the run, goes down. They dove him from the middle lane. Hasted Dazzle, going deep, going hard, going for Yol, and Yol is dead.
Yol in big trouble. Down he goes. Only 3 of them left. SADBOY going to try and put him to sleep to slow things down, but Fear doesn't have a fear in the world. He is going to press forward. Now going to start chipping away at Scandal. He is in YOLO mode right now. He's the only one that far forward, but that's okay. He will zone out RoX.KiS, and the rest of the team going to be able to back up. So still a 2-for-0 exchange.
Blinks up. Earthshaker has a blink.
Uh-oh. A 15-minute blink on that Earthshaker. Fear going to be able to time-lapse just in the nick of time. Ooh, playing with fire there.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have his Linkens yet. I mean, he's got the money for it. It's on the courier, but it's not delivered, and boy, you know you're behind when Invoker goes mech. Like, yeah, we saw Ice go for it for DK, but that's really not the style that we've seen out of RoX.KiS. And generally, you'd want the Elder Titan to go for the mech in this kind of a lineup. You'd love to see your Invoker go 4 staff, something a little bit not greedier, but just something that gives him a little more punch later on. Him being forced to go for like the team utility items over Elder Titan is just a sign of how far behind they are. And how do they kill anyone now? Like, you can't kill Fear because he's got Linken's Fear, and their only reliable lockdown is Cold Snap as well as Alk Stun, both of which are going to be dealt with by Linkens. There's always a Shallow Grave in the mix. There's almost a pipe complete on Universe. And the supports both have blinks. Not only the Earthshaker but for PPD, but also Zai's Crystal Maiden. So they can sit like a million miles back, Sayori, and then only come in when they feel like it, and not a minute too soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking maybe Luna's ultimate is one way that they can pack a punch in these team fights, but she's still only level 8. If she was level 11 and had that level 2 Eclipse, perhaps that could be a good bit of team fight, but still.
Fear's just diving.
Yeah, Fear, I mean, he's 1v4 right now. They do have a sentry down, so needs to be a little bit careful. They've got enough lockdown there that they catch him. Well, perhaps they could pick up a kill, but now with that Linken's up, they don't have a hell of a lot to break the Linken's either. Luna going to have to waste a beam on it, most likely. So
yeah, I mean, even if they do break the Linken's, like, they need to Cold Snap, and the Alk Stun's got to hit before he manages the time lapse.
Yep.
And they all have to be on top of him, probably with the Spirit already dropped and the Elder Titan aura there as well, giving them additional damage. Maybe then they can kill him, but that's about it. And Arteezy, he's got 4 staff here. Should be absolutely fine.
And Universe going to be there for good measure. So we'll be able to speed him up, but Universe going to go forward. That's going to be a weave coming out, and the wall going to make a whole bunch of illusions, and that'll be enough to at least zone out all members of RoX.KiS with just 2 heroes from SADBOYS.
Oh, if they had baited that like a second longer, PPD was coming, and he could have dunked 5.
Yep, and here we go. They are going to press forward.
He's going for it.
Yol charging up. He's going to go on to Zai. Fear now going to poke forward. That'll be the end of the Luna. Zai trying to stay alive, moving about the trees. Isn't going to be enough, though. The Cold Snap going to make that fancy footwork a bit more difficult. So going to be a 1-for-2 as things settle down. Sunstrike, yeah, going to connect here. And we'll see how they press forward. Fear leading the charge, looking like he wants to poke SADBOY.
Yeah, poke. He doesn't hit that hard yet, but he just doesn't leave either.
Another weave coming down. There's the vacuum, and oh, PPD going to blink forward with an Echo Slam. RoX.KiS just on the back foot here. They're forced to retreat, and PPD actually going to be the first to fall, but they'll grab a recovery kill onto the Invoker. So sort of a sloppy engage here from SADBOYS. The 4 staff going to be enough to keep Fear alive. Arteezy in big trouble. One more Lucent Beam going to take it down.
Yeah, getting a little cocky, and Fear does have his Linked, so they can't stop that TP out. They actually also lost the CM, so that's 3 dead for the SADBOYS, which, considering their 20,000 gold lead, is not a trade they should be making. But, you know, they're ahead. They're feeling a little cocky, a little overzealous, and ultimately it wasn't too bad of a trade for them. I mean, it's good for RoX.KiS, but I don't think it's good enough.
Yeah.
Because, like, just look at these heroes. This Luna, at 19 minutes in, you'd like to have, you know, Helm of the Dominator Yasha up, or maybe BKB, makings of Helm of the Dominator, like something along those lines in, like, an average game, I would say, and she has Aquila, Treads, and Bracer.
Yeah.
No BKB, no Yasha, no Helm of the Dominator, no farm of any kind. The Invoker had to go mech first because he's the only off core hero getting farm. and your Elder Titan is an Ogre Club. So there's 0 core items on the core heroes, let alone the supports. I mean, this is Boots and Magic Stick supports, and
yeah,
they're so far behind that the only way they take fights is when SADBOYS get cocky, which, hey, they did once. Maybe they'll do it again.
Yeah, well, and meanwhile, on the side of SADBOYS, Universe now has a pipe up to go with that mech, so it's going to make this team fight even more difficult for RoX.KiS. Does Venomancer even have his ult yet? Nope, only level 6, still hasn't gotten the Poison Nova, so that pipe really going to come in handy against the Alchemist, the Luna, and even the Invoker, and going to make things even more difficult for RoX.KiS here, adding insult to injury as it is 28-9 as we're approaching that 20-minute mark in our first game of the day.
Yeah, it's only our first of 4 matches today, and coming up next we have Speed versus eHug. So eHug's second ever official match. Looking forward to that, my friend. But yeah, RoX.KiS, they're running a lineup that's normally really good at defending towers. Alchemist as well as Elder Titan. You generally don't want to push into these heroes. And Luna, a hero that's dangerous to tower dive normally, but they just 5-man down mid, and RoX.KiS didn't even defend. Sure, they didn't have Eclipse, but even if they did, that's just not a fight they're going to be able to take. And Luna also not very effective against Darkseer because he gets the early pipe, he gets the early mech, and on top of that, gives you the R against her. And I think perhaps even the bigger deal, you make a huge wall of illusions, and Eclipse does nothing. So in a lot of ways, Darkseer can really be an amazing counter to Luna if he has a decent start. And this was a lot more than decent.
Yeah.
Universe 9-1-13. They have 28 kills. He's been involved in 22 of them, and this is pretty much a desperation smoke. RoX.KiS on the move.
Yep. 5-man smoke. This could very well be the last fight of the game if they get completely scraped up here. But Arteezy going to be in big trouble. He's going to walk into the entire roster of RoX.KiS. Going to try and force that forward. Unfortunately, going to get stuck in the trees, and that is one dead Arteezy.
Yeah. He ideally would have waited a second or two longer and then force staffed up the cliff or down the hill, but just expected the stun was going to be there and thought he didn't have the time to actually force staff out. So he does go down, and that's any kill on a core is a big kill for RoX.KiS, but they're still putting a lot of pressure on this bottom lane, and I think SADBOYS can afford to give a few up and still take towers and still come out on top.
I mean, even just trading a Dazzle for the bottom tier 2 tower isn't a bad trade here for SADBOYS. So all in all, I think they still come out ahead.
Yeah, and they've got Deso on Fear now, so the siege can begin in earnest. This is just probably like the single best item on Weaver to just break the base early on. He can sit in the front lines, Arteezy and Universe can back him up, and then PPD and Zai can be even farther behind them. And if you go on the Weaver, he can time lapse out, he can be shallow graved, mech'd, piped, and then Earthshaker can counter initiate with Blink, Echoes. Like, there's no way to kill this Weaver unless he's really out of position, and you really cannot ignore him. Weaver with Deso just chews through towers.
And we still can't count out that Crystal Maiden for some follow-up team fight to Blink in, a big freezing field. Even if you only get a couple seconds of that channel, that can be a lot of damage if you're right in the middle of that team fight. Looks like SADBOYS will be a little bit patient here, and they're going to wait out the Roche respawn, and he should be popping up pretty quickly here in just about 20 seconds or so. I still have trouble reading this compass of a Roshan
This
timer,
is the 3. This is like 2.5 minutes beyond like the fastest it can respawn. So that's like a 10.5 minute Roche, which is a longer one. So yeah, each of those hash marks means 1 minute.
Right. Okay.
So there's 3 total. So it's almost 3 minutes. But top lane, hold that thought.
Oh. Let's see, Luna going to be in a little bit of trouble here. The Echo Slam comes out. There's the mech from Invoker to try and keep the Luna alive, but it's not going to be enough. Now Zai going to blink forward. Scandal going to be in a little bit of trouble here, perhaps. They are going to try and pursue. There's the Frostbite. Of course, Alchemist going to get picked off in the mid lane while we're watching Scandal engaged on up here. Dazzle going to come in with that Poison Touch. The Force Staff through the trees.
Oh, he's so sad right now. He's still running.
Oh, PPD going to blink back.
And they're breaking base with 2. They're killing one top lane with 3, and they're breaking base with 2.
Yep.
This is not good.
Echo Slam going to try and buy him some time, but Mech Pipe going to be used, and Universe and Fear just going to keep chipping away at that tier 3 in the mid lane. Veno doing what he can with those Plague Wards. But,
like, the safe play here would just be pushing all the lanes and go quickly snipe the Roche, but they don't need the safe play. They can just 5-man down mid, and they're only going to lose this if they get caught by Eclipse and there's no backup. Well, here's a good stomp setup. Nope, there's your fissure. PPD, good positioning, and no way for RoX.KiS to win.
Not sure if that was a little bit of troll or an accident. I don't know if Arteezy really meant to force staff up to that high ground there. That was sort of an awkward.
Was it him or was it? No, Scandal's dead. Yeah, so it must have been him.
Yeah,
not sure.
Well, PPD Zai has a force staff as well, but it's off cooldown. So I thought there was a little bit of team trickery there, but no, it was Arteezy's force staff that was used. So Just getting a bit overzealous, perhaps. There's a 5-man squad from RoX.KiS pressing forward towards the Roche pit. Vacuum, wall going to come out. PPD going to come in with a lot of AoE damage, and this is going to be a disaster of a team fight coming out for RoX.KiS. SADBOY and Scandal, the only two left alive, and SADBOY not going to be surviving too much longer. We'll be able to scoot back and get a little bit of mech health to try and bring him back up. Now Zai going to hop forward. That'll buy some time for Scandal. SADBOY going to get picked off, and this is looking like it will be a 5-for-0 exchange outside of the Roche pit. They're going to commit to it. Scandal's going to fall, and I think we've got to be close to a GG here, LB. Oh,
yeah, there you go. I gotta say, like, really nice teamfight execution from SADBOYS at the end. Vac an immediate blink in, echo, fissure on 3 or 4, enchant totem follow-up. So good overall coordination for them. But this game, they really want it in the laning stage. The Earthshaker's positioning, PPD in the off lane. One of the less proven players on this team was in the right place at the right time. Every time they tried to dive Fear on the Darks, or sorry, Universe on the Darks here, they were ready. They turned it around against him. So they did a really nice job there. And on top of that, from there, it was just Fear got too much space. Arteezy played a little cocky mid and got punished for it, but there was too much space created on the off lane, in particular by Universe and the supports. And then Fear just he free farmed on Weaver. And you go back to some of the other small things like Elder Titan going boots first, expecting to be up against the duel or a tri-lane, and just couldn't do anything 1v1 against the Weaver. Yeah,
I think SADBOYS did a good job drafting here. Dark Seer worked really well to try and counteract the efforts of that Venomancer, and it was a great game for Weaver as well. We didn't see a lot of him in the early game, but there wasn't a lot of lockdown, and that tends to be an environment when Weaver thrives.
Yeah, especially early Lincolns against Alk. Alk, like, what else is going to break the Lincolns quickly? Lucent Beam, and it's got quite a wind-up to it, so they're pretty screwed, but that's going to put SADBOYS straight into the winner bracket round 2, which is the semifinals in the winner bracket.
Right.
And then coming up next, we have Speed versus
E-Hug.
I wanted to say Fnatic, but that's actually the show match that we thought was happening today as well, which is not the Hitbox TV one. But it's E-Hug versus Speed. So E-Hug got a tall order ahead of them.
Oh, they certainly do. But alas, we will see SADBOYS coming up in that best of 3. And RoX.KiS is not out of it yet. There is a losers bracket, so they'll have another chance for survival with our final best of 1, depending on who loses this next match coming up.
Yeah, completely right. So I guess we'll take a quick break here. Let's see, how long do we have? Should be starting relatively soon, hopefully in the next 10 minutes or so. But stick around, guys. We'll be back.